Hello, guys, welcome back to another amazing episode of Church Boy Talks. Hope you guys are good. For my Nigerian brothers, how many times have you shouted Omo today? Omo is one of the most used words, these days. You get because Omo, see, I just said it now. I just said it unintentionally. How many times have you shouted Omo? It is well, it is well. Please, if you need to shout Omo, shout. Don't. This is not the time to be forming hard man, strong guy, independent lady. Please, feel free to shout Omo, because saying Omo sometimes is a stress reliever. For those of you that are listening from other parts of the world, how do I explain what Omo is now? I don't know. Omo is a versatile word spelled OMO. It's guys, I don't know, maybe you guys help me explain what Omo is in the comment section. So I am trying to find the right way to explain what Omo is. Omo is that word that can be used in different situations. For example, like Omo, I'm tired, or Omo, what's wrong with this country, Seth, or what's going on in the country, that kind of thing. Omo, I'm happy for you, congratulations. Omo, I need to take my life seriously. So Omo is very versatile, you get. So but I think from these examples you guys can get the gist basically of what Omo is. So today we're going to be talking about a major principle that a lot of people think this principle is strictly for church folks, right? They think it's only in the Christian, it's only in church it works, is a spiritual principle, that kind of thing. But really, principles govern life as a whole. So whether you're a Christian, whether you're not a Christian, principles govern life as a whole. The law of aerodynamics, the law of gravity does not discriminate. It does not say, oh, you are a tongue-talking believer. You are filled with the spirit. Shadadabo shakata. So gravity will not work for you. So once you just step out of the house, you just start floating. That kind of thing. No. Gravity works, the same way for everybody, regardless of who you are. So principles were created by God. That one is definitely, the major takeaway from it in the sense that it was created by God to guide and regulate our lives and how we, live our lives here on earth. So what principle are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about the principle of sowing and reaping. Right. And by the way, before you end the podcast, before you run away, I'm not talking about sowing money alone. You understand? Because when people hear sowing and reaping, like, this guy wants to ask for my money, that kind of thing. But that's not why we're here. We're just having a conversation, So without further ado, let us jump right into it. So sowing and reaping, right, is a principle like we mentioned. In a nutshell, it simply means putting in, something with the hope of receiving a result, at the end. So it could be making an investment, it could be planting a seed in the soil. It's just any action you take that has the capacity to yield results in the end. And let me even put it this way, an expected result. So not just any result, but like an expected result, a result that you expect to happen. So literally that's sowing and reaping. You sow time, studying for an exam, attending classes, doing assignments, going for practicals, listening to your lecturers, asking questions with the hope of receiving an expected result. And what's that expected result? That you pass your exams and eventually get to graduate with good grades, right? That is the principle of sowing and reaping. If you really look at the world, every single aspect of the world, in terms of nature, in terms of human relationships and everything, and even in terms of data, right, statistics and science and everything, you would find out that the law of sowing and reaping is something that, those that have proven to be successful over the years, or anything that seems to be working, follows that principle. And so the principle of sowing and reaping is something that we have to learn. We have to learn. One common thing with the law of sowing and reaping is that it always involves time and it always involves process. You cannot take away time and process from the law of sowing and reaping. If you really want the law of sowing and reaping to work for you, you need patience. You need patience because sowing and reaping requires time and process. You want to make money, right? You want to be a millionaire. It's not going to happen overnight. That's if you do it legally. If you do it legally, it's not going to happen overnight. There has to be sowing and reaping, and that's why sometimes I laugh at people, or I just see people as ignorant when they attack certain people that are wealthy. You get, because I'm like, you were not there when these guys were grinding. You were not there when they probably went a day without food to eat. You were not there when they were broke, when they were bankrupt. You were not there when, their family members left them, or whatever challenge they experienced. And now that they are successful, you are just hating on them because, in some cases, it might just be jealousy, it might just be envy. So some people, when they see successful people, it haunts them. Because to some people out there, when they see someone successful, it kind of shows them their inadequacies and their flaws, especially when the person is in the same demography, or has similar demographics with them in terms of age, nationality, and all those stuff, because it shows that, okay, one person took responsibility for his life and now he's successful, and you decided to complain and whine about the government and everything, and then that you now ended up where you are. So to some people, that's really why they hate on successful people, because it's showing them that if you had made better choices, you'd probably be enjoying what this person is enjoying today. So, but anyway, you have to understand patience if you really want the law of sowing and reaping to work for you. So patience, right? So patience after you have done the needful. So sometimes it's even when you are doing the needful, you understand. It's just like okay, we all know, most of us know the story of, I believe it's Thomas Edison, when he invented the light bulb. We know how many times he tried. He kept trying and he kept trying till eventually he got it. So he was putting in efforts, putting in knowledge. He did research. He didn't just stumble across that invention. It was a deliberate investment of effort, energy, knowledge, and even money and other resources. So if you want this law of sowing and reaping to work for you, you have to understand patience. And then lastly, for this episode, you need to sow the right things, right? You need to sow the right things. For example, you know that you are not good at sports, but because Messi is making, I don't know how much he's making currently, but I'm sure it's a lot. Let's just say 500,000 euros. I think he's playing in an American club now. So let's say dollars. Let's just say $500,000, weekly. And then you have the likes of them Vinicius and Ronaldo and the rest, and they are making large amounts of money. In fact, if you go to the Saudi league now, They are one of the highest paid players, worldwide. You get, and so you find out how much they are making, and then you're like, I'm also going to be a footballer. But if you tell yourself the truth, nothing concerns you and sports. In fact, the last time you tried to play football in your primary school or secondary school, it ended terribly. You understand? Like, that almost sports is not my thing. But because, that's what, people are doing, or you feel like that's where there's a lot of money, you now start working hard to go into sports. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of things that even if you don't have the talent, right, you can work hard to achieve, to get to that level of excellence in something. I personally believe that, hard work can beat talent. The fact that you're talented at something doesn't necessarily mean you would be the best at it. Somebody who is not as talented as you are can work hard and get to the level of excellence, that they would be recognized globally. So really, when it comes to sowing and reaping, right, it's first of all about what you sow, secondly, where you sow, and then thirdly, having the patience to see the harvest eventually come up or eventually manifest itself. So guys, I don't want you to see sowing and reaping as just something we do in church. Okay, when you want God to bless you, or when you are trusting God for something, sowing and reaping goes beyond money. It involves actions, it even time. You can sow your time, you can sow your love, you can sow kindness. And when I say sow kindness and sow love, I don't mean I don't mean a situation where you now become transactional with your kindness or with being kind or showing somebody love. So you're now like, okay, I'll show you love or I'll be kind to you so that you can be kind to me in the future. That's not what I mean. You sow love and you sow kindness because this is who you are, this is your nature, this is why you are a Christian, because you have been called to reflect the love of Christ, and then this is how Christ lives. Christ does not show favoritism. He loves people, he's kind to people, he is merciful unto all in that sense. And so don't be transactional with it, but just sow. So really, the law of sowing and reaping is not something we can cover in a day, but I just want us to not think of it in terms of money alone, really, because it's something that governs life. And for all of us that are young people and listening to this, the later parts of our lives, talking about when we hit our 50s, our 60s, the results we are going to see at that stage of our life, or however our life is going to be, at that point, depends on what we sow now. You don't want to be 60 and still struggling. You don't want to be 60, 70 and you're still having to go to work. Not like it's bad to work at that age, but at that age you should be working for fun, or you should be working because you just want to work. Really, the law of sowing and reaping, as I keep trying to end, more things keep coming up. Another thing when it comes to sowing and reaping is there's a time to sow and there's a time to reap. You will not always be in sowing season and you will not always be in reaping season. So like I said, now imagine you waste God forbid, but imagine a person wastes his youthful age. You find out that person might struggle. There's a high tendency that person will struggle. Yes, we know motivational speakers often tell us that, okay, the founder of is it KFC or McDonald's started, when he was, above 50 or something like that. I can't really remember the story. They motivate us and they say, yeah, you can always achieve your dreams and all those stuff. But let's be honest, right? How many percent of people within that age are able to achieve their dreams? How many percent of people within that age are even able to work on their dreams? You find out that some people at that age are still having to work hard to take care of their family, and so they really don't have the option of chasing their dreams. They just have the option of putting food on their table and making sure their children are clothed and making sure their family is well to do. They may not have the luxury or the time to go after their dreams. Do you get what I'm trying to say, guys? So in as much as all these things I've said are important, there is a time for you to sow, there's a time for you to reap, there's a time to work hard, guys. Yes, you should work hard at every point in your life, but a major deciding factor of how we spend the rest of our lives is how we utilize our youthful stage. And that does not mean, like I said, that if you've gone past your youthful stage that there's no hope for you. No, there is hope. But I'm just saying, when you are young, as we are young currently, we have the advantage. So let's throw away our excuses. Let's throw away all the procrastination. Let's get rid of distractions and let's go and put in the work, and let us sow well, let us sow hard work, let us sow kindness, let us sow even money. Let us invest money in ourselves, because it's not just about spending, making money and spending. Money is also something you can sow. You can sow it into investments, make investments for yourself that by the time you are old, you don't necessarily have to be actively working for you to have income. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I hope we'll take intentional decisions to sow the right kind of things, and then be patient enough for the rewards as well, and to not fall into the trap of instant gratification. Okay, until I come your way next time, this is Patrick, and you're listening to Church Boy Talks. See you guys on the next episode.